guys. Hello, gorgeous. As many of you know, I'm a big fan of animation, especially animation from the 80s, and I just recently started watching a couple of animated shows, older animated shows, that I have never seen before, and I wanted to do a quick first impressions video. So these are not full reviews. I've only watched 1 or 2 or 3 episodes of each of these shows, but wanted to do a quick first impressions account, and once I finish a season or the entire series, I'll do one of my proper full animated reviews of the whole show. But kicking it off, actually a show not from the 80s, it's from the early 90s, Conan the Adventurer. A lot of you people might have heard the interview I just recently did with the incomparable Christy Marks. She talked in that interview about her work on Conan the Adventurer and being a big fan of the Arnie Conan movies. I had to check it out and I am really digging it. Just a few episodes in, but I like the vibe of the show. Now, yes, I know it is a kids show, and the idea of a Conan cartoon is like the idea of a RoboCop cartoon or a Rambo cartoon. RoboCop and Rambo didn't work so well as cartoons, you know, from my point of view, but I am enjoying Conan the Adventurer because they haven't completely clipped his wings. It doesn't have the gore, the violence, the thievery, the pillaging. Yeah, I know the Robert E. Howard stories are very dark and grim, but some of that essence, I think, is still there, which is why I'm enjoying it. The character of Conan is what's important, and he is blowhard. He is a strong guy. He's fearless. That's what's the important thing to remember about Conan. He is a warrior without fear, as the theme song goes. The theme song is fantastic. That's really rousing. I like that he's not made a fool of. There are people on the show that are making fun of him. They take jibes at him for being such a meathead. But he is capable, he is skilled, he is powerful. That is not in dispute. So I think it dances the fine line, and it does it successfully. It does not fail. I would say that Conan the Adventurer is a successful adaptation of a rated R movie or book series before that. Christy mentioned in the interview that she went back to the original books. And I think that she has successfully captured that feel, that tone, without the violence. So hats off to her for being able to accomplish that with the constraints of being a children's show. I especially like the character of Conan and the world that he's in this animated setting, because I do feel as though in this day and age, you hear a lot of people talk about people are too sensitive these days. I don't think that's the right word for it. Sensitivity is a good thing. And I think that the word is being turned into something that it wasn't originally meant to be. Sensitive is like empathy. It's awareness. That is a very good thing. And in my opinion, from my perspective, it's not that sensitivity is the problem, it's that fragility is the problem. People are far too fragile. They are far too quick to wound and slow to heal, which is backwards to how it should be. The way I choose to live my life is to be very slow to wound, and then when I do, if I do, I'm very quick to heal. So I like the fact that Conan is one of those guys. He is not fragile, he is fearless. He is a might makes right type of guy, and we see that fail in so many TV shows and movies, and it's kind of cool to see a guy like him finally actually succeed with his might makes right mentality some of the time. It also has some, really good character growing experiences too. Conan does learn. He's not a Neanderthal. Sometimes he does realize he has to work together. There's good morals and values for kids as well, but like Christy said in the interview, they don't beat you over the head with it. They're not ham-fisted and heavy-handed about it. I think it just does a really good job, and I think it would be a great show for kids to watch these days, to watch a really powerful, strong, capable character who is not portrayed as just an idiot, an imbecile, a raging Hulk beast. Next up is Thundarr the Barbarian, which Buzz Dixon wrote a whole bunch of episodes for. I spoke to Buzz last year for another epic interview. It was like an hour long, And I've tracked the show down and watched a couple of episodes of that, and I'm digging it too. It's actually one of those situations where 15 seconds into the intro, I went, "You have me. You have my interest. I'm interested in this scenario." The narrator sets the stage, the tone for the show. It takes place in the future, in the mid-90s. I just love whenever something was from the 80s and the movie or the show is set in the future, like Escape from New York is set in the future in the 90s. So the way Thundarr starts is that it says in the future in the 90s, this asteroid, something, planet, flies past Earth, and it causes a cataclysmic event. In the animation they show what looks like the ozone layer being torn away from the planet and following this asteroid. But it is a cataclysmic event, it causes an apocalyptic event. And then they fast forward a lot of years down the road, like 1,000 or something. And the show takes place in a post-apocalyptic world. But it is very much like Visionaries, in the sense that things have returned to the age of sorcery and magic and swords. Now in Visionaries, when the world shut down, all the technology shut down, the story continues like that minute. And when we are introduced to the Spectral Knights and the Darkling Lords, it's not too long after the shutdown. But Thundarr is a long time after this cataclysmic event. So I love post-apocalyptic movies and shows. It's cool to watch a cartoon set in the remnants of civilization. So there's broken down cars and trains and statues, buildings. So I like the setting of it. And Thundarr is basically a precursor to He-Man. He looks very similar to He-Man with the blonde bob cut. He's got a glowing sword, which is a lot like a lightsaber. It even turns on like a lightsaber. And another Star Wars influence is that his companion, his sidekick, Ukla, is very Chewbacca-like, although he has a much funnier growl. It's not this charming, sometimes playful or funny growl. It is this insane. Every time I hear him screaming, I just laugh because it's, I think, a lot more funny than it was originally intended to be. But good writing. Buzz Dixon is always, always wrote great stories, no matter what show he was on. So I'm enjoying Thundarr the Barbarian as well. And then the third new show that I'm checking out, I actually gave it a shot a few months ago, mentioned on Twitter. I had started watching it, but got sidetracked with some other things and just started up again. Rewatched the first 3 episodes of it, and I'm just as blown away now as I was initially. Robotech, the Macross Saga. I never saw it when it originally came out, but it is incredible. It's the remastered version. It is mind-boggling how beautiful this show looks. I'm so used to watching old animated shows on DVD, which look very good, but still you can see some digitization, pixelization, maybe even some screen noise, dirt, color issues, other imperfections, and that doesn't ruin things for me. I don't need things to be in HD, but when they are in HD, it can be so much more immersive if the source material warrants it. Something that is more basic looking, I don't know if being in HD is going to help it, like the Flintstones, but Robotech is incredible. The remastered version looks like something that was made today, and a lot of today's animation that I see, I think, was inspired by Robotech. There are so many incredible techniques that they use. Rack focus, which you don't normally see in animation, as well as slowing the action down. There's a great scene where Rick Hunter's Veritech fighter is, the arm has been disconnected, which is holding a civilian, and they take the moment to slow time down. Cockpit opens up, and it's a really intense moment, and I don't remember seeing slow motion in a lot of cartoons because it's all about being fast, intense. But Robotech isn't afraid to slow things down or go at a slower pace. Every episode leads directly into the next one. It is totally like a Netflix series, where it's not like a syndicated show that could be watched out of order. Everything is connected. It feels like one big, huge, epic, slowly unfolding story. I love the pace of it. Some of the humor might be considered a little bit cheesy, but I'm a big fan of that stuff of the 80s. I want that type of lighthearted fun as opposed to today's cynicism and badassery. So first impressions of Robotech is that it definitely lives up to the incredible hype that this legendary show has built up over the years. So those are my first impressions of these three old shows that I have just recently started watching. If you remember any of those and you have some memories to share as well, scroll down and go to town. And to join the tribe, hit subscribe. Nerdmaste.